Hey everybody, it's me, Sven here, bringing you day number 53 of Let's Talk About Autism. Before we get started, how about you hit the like and subscribe button down below? It'll help me out a lot. Anyway, today's video is about the stark, and I mean very stark, difference between getting diagnosed at 3 versus diagnosed at 30 with autism or really any mental health related thing at all. So, if you're diagnosed at 30, well, the system can't really do anything to you. Big pharma can't do anything. The schools obviously can't do anything because you're 30 and your life's already established and you're just fine. And they know it. They know you're fine because you're 30. They've seen you. So if you're diagnosed at 30, you're probably going to be fine because it would not be legal for these established systems to do anything to you. They can't medicalize you. They can try, but I don't think it would work very well. And the schools certainly can't do anything. They can't say a word about it because you're 30. But if you're diagnosed as a toddler, like I wasn't even 2. But, 3 is, right in the center of toddler years. If you're diagnosed at 3 years old, or right around that, you're screwed. It's not going to matter where on the spectrum you are. And most of the time, you're going to be just fine intellectually. You won't have a profound disability. But the system, Big Pharma, the school system, all of them are going to assume that you do, even if you don't. They function on the basis that 100% of diagnoses means automatic profound disability that needs to be early interventioned immediately. Like, that's the only solution for them. So they're forced into early intervention and you're treated like almost like an animal. This might depend on where you go, and I'm definitely going to make videos about how this process works, and I might have already said a few things. But all I'm saying is the stuff that usually happens to autistics, the abusive practices usually happen to kids. So if you're able to avoid getting diagnosed until after you graduate high school or even during high school, you're probably going to be okay because they cannot justify that kind of practice on somebody who's 15, 20, 30, or, after that. But they think it's okay when it's a 3-year-old because they automatically assume the 3-year-old's not going to be able to do anything even when they get to like 10, even if that 3-year-old is already able to do things like math or reading. So that's a big issue, and people say the solution is early diagnosis, but I actually don't think that's a good idea because if you're diagnosed early, if you're diagnosed as a toddler, the system is just not going to treat you well. You're going to be put in early intervention, almost guaranteed. They tried it with me. Luckily, it didn't really work out very well, as in I was able to get out pretty quickly. Praise the Lord, man. I'm lucky I didn't have to deal with as much of that. But so many autistic kids, that many of whom are probably even smarter than me, they're just assumed to be profoundly disabled, even if they're not. And they're put through these programs that are never going to educate them past kindergarten, or even if they do eventually get into regular school, the school isn't going to treat them well either. Like, you won't have school choice, and if you do, you're going to be an SSN. Like, you're not going to be given a proper education. And you might have regular classes, but you're still going to be surveilled 24/7. It takes years to get out of these programs. So getting diagnosed as a small child is just abysmal. The only benefit I can think of is, why you're different. You have the reasons why, you know what's going on, you have a name for it, but that's kind of where the benefits end because early intervention just doesn't work. I've said this before. I don't think I need to say it again. Other people say it. They say, but they just say that early intervention is the only solution. This probably sounds quite familiar, actually. And then you're told, if you do not put your 3-year-old in early intervention, which is really just child abuse, then they're going to fail, that they're never going to be able to function in life. That is insane. That's absurd. And I understand that some kids have a profound disability, but that's not even close to 100%. Robert Kennedy himself says that's 25 to 30. Yeah, more than I expected, but not even close to 100%. So getting diagnosed at 3 years old is not the benefit you think it is, because it's really more of a con than a pro. So, if you're diagnosed at 30, there's people in their 60s that get diagnosed, but when you're that old, it's like, well, there's nothing the current systems can do to you. Nothing, because it wouldn't be legal for them to put you in an early intervention program because you're an adult. They can't put an adult through that. It would be illegal for them to do that. But they think it's okay to do that to kids. And, I'm definitely going to talk about this process of how abusive early intervention really is and how abusive special education really is. It's not always like this, of course, but you're still going to have a lot of problems with it. And if you're thought of as autistic by people around you, it's going to be much harder for you to make friends. I mean, even if you're not diagnosed with autism until you're 30, I mean, if you're diagnosed with like a learning disability or ADHD or OCD or something, I probably should have said this earlier in the video. If you're diagnosed with some other condition that's related to it, you're still going to have a lot of these problems. If you're diagnosed with a learning disability at 7, you're going to have problems beginning at age 7. If you're diagnosed with OCD at 10, well, you're only in 4th grade. The schools are still going to try to force you to do some kindergarten level assignment. So even if you're smarter than the 4th graders around you. So that's just the issue with getting diagnosed early. It's not the benefit you think it is. And there's a big difference, really big difference, between getting diagnosed as a little kid and as a full-grown adult. And it's very stark. Like the same person that was diagnosed at 30, if they were diagnosed at 3, their life would be very different. Just based on when they were diagnosed, simply because of the actions that big pharma and the school system do if you're diagnosed as a child versus when you're diagnosed as an adult. When you're a child, it's early intervention and special education, which isn't really doing what it's supposed to. So it's either that or nothing. Like, it's either that or failure. Those are the only options you get if you're a parent of a 3-year-old that's diagnosed with autism. But if you're diagnosed as an adult, they can't do anything because you're an adult. And 7 minutes, this is longer than I expected to go, but I'm just trying to get my point across that I've probably said enough. I've probably illustrated it, and you can watch this video over and over again if you couldn't understand what I was saying, because we have differences in communication. That's a whole nother thing. I'll make a different video about that. But yeah, that was day 53. I will see you on day 54. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.